The FAA is asking homeowners to check their Christmas lights, especially if you use those lasers for your outdoor decorations. You want to make sure they are pointed toward your house and not the open sky.
All right, so lasers can cause flash blindness, especially for airline pilots. The FAA got 7,000 reports of laser strikes in 2017. Jeff Nielsen is a commercial pilot who has been doing it for 30 years. Jeff, thanks for joining us this morning to talk about this. You haven't experienced this yourself, but you know pilots who have.
Yes.
How do they describe this?
Well, they describe it as a startling thing. It's like a flash of lightning all of a sudden, hitting you and startling you and distracting you, and it can, be a risky situation.
In what ways? How could it affect the pilots and or the flight?
Well, this happens at night, and your eyes are adjusted to night vision, and then you get this laser that lights up your cockpit, and it temporarily blinds you. And
So I'm trying to think, what Christmas lights should we have people avoid, especially pointing them at the sky? I'm trying to think of.
Well, those displays that have like the snowflakes lighting up the houses or the stars or whatever else.
Yeah.
As long as people, and these things come with instructions that say don't point them up into the sky, because and most people aren't thinking about the effect that it might have on pilots flying by.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the wind can move the light display.
Yes.
In areas that you don't
So
expect
recheck
it to.
them, yeah.
So make sure you tie it down on both ends.
Listen, your run-of-the-mill lights, those are totally fine. Those aren't going to cause any issues, right? But how far do these lasers, planes fly at 30,000 feet, or is this when they're taking off and landing, or can they really get that far?
There are some laser beams that can reach that kind of altitude,
Wow.
but the ones that we're talking about here are usually like the handheld pen lights or the holiday lighting displays, which don't go up all the way to the 30,000 foot level. But if you're living in a city, so that means you're going to be near an airport, that's when it's most critical, because the airplanes are coming in at lower altitudes.
Since we have so much of this in the forecast today, and you're a pilot, I wanted to ask you, what's worse coming in on approach, a snowstorm or a thunderstorm?
Well, since you're calling both of them storms, that's indicating to me that it's unstable air. And
Right.
So I would say in that case, probably the snowstorm, because you have all that wintry precipitation and the instability.
Plus, you won't approach during a downdraft.
No, if we have reports
That's
of
too strong.
wind shears or microbursts, no, absolutely not.
Real quick, what airport is the most difficult to maneuver when it comes to the weather?
Probably ones such as DCA, LaGuardia, that have restrictions, especially the White House and all the restrictions in DCA. When you throw in severe or inclement weather, it makes it so much worse.
All right, Jeff, some interesting information there. Guys, remember about the lasers. Don't point them in the sky. Not to mention, that just freaks you out. Have you ever seen like a laser just come across your... I had to come in my living room one time. I'm like, what the heck?
Well, you can find Jeff's podcast, Airplane Pilot Guy, anywhere you can download a podcast.